Today we have a few things going on in the weather world. With the primary thing we want to look at is being wildfire smoke. So right now we have a lot of smoke from Canada. There's some wildfires going on up there, and this has been causing some air quality issues for the past few days. Particularly on our satellite right now, you can really see North Dakota just taking a lot of the brunt of it. But for the rest of the day today, we should see this expanding kind of more to the east. Minnesota and Iowa, especially, going to be today's issue. But you can see some of this smoke is getting even as south as Georgia, and even starting to border into Florida. So that's just something I want to talk about. Also, want to look at a little bit of severe weather. We have a few slight risks out. I'll look at day one, day two briefly. Not super impressive slight risks, but what's synoptically causing that. I'll also take a quick look at some of the tropics. We have Tropical Storm Alvin out here, Baja California. I shouldn't expect this to last much longer, but we do have this going on, as well as a disturbance here. And I wanted to briefly touch on what might be seeing in some of the GFS runs for. It's been consistent forming a cyclone down here in the Caribbean, so I want to look at that real quick as well. So first off, again, right now we have this air quality issue going on. Our current warnings, advisories, and all that. We have this basically all of Minnesota under air quality alert. Like, we have also some portions here of Michigan going on as well. Again, seeing the smoke coming down is definitely an issue that could prove to be worrying for people with lung conditions and all that. That is an important part of weather as well as what else is in our atmosphere. So again, the smoke has been going on for the past few days. I'll let this load real quick, but you'll see this is for Thursday. You can see a lot of the smoke was going on up there in Canada, kind of moving south slowly. That's more smoke. Overnight hours, can't see anything. Again, more of the smoke is definitely going on. Even yesterday here over a broad region of Iowa, South Dakota. Again, you can see it pretty well here. To the white it's obviously our clouds, but some of this other area here is all that smoke going on. And moving forward to this morning, again, as I said, a lot of that smoke has made its way south. I don't believe there's a channel. Actually, this one might be able to show our smoke, surprisingly. Let's see. I have to wait for this to load. But there, you can see on this one image here, some of the smoke on the infrared might actually be. Did I lose? We'll go off that for now. But yeah, smoke is definitely an issue, and keep your eyes on that forecast, especially if you're in the Midwest. That could be meandering off to the east. Looking at the reasoning for that, let's look at our current upper air pattern. See a pretty large scale trough going on, basically Ontario and Quebec here, kind of eastern Canada. Lots of this northerly flow, and it's going to bring that smoke down south. Again, particularly going to be in the Midwest region that I'll be keeping an eye out for. Moving to severe weather now, again, there's two slight risks. You can notice, apart from our large scale trough, pretty well defined, positively tilted. It's not really tilted anymore, it's kind of just horizontal at this point. Definitely positively tilted if it is. Here, a little shortwave trough going on, slowly meandering off to the south here. See, maintains a little bit of that jet streak, just kind of this very defined area of low pressure right here, lower to geopotential heights. And if we move on with time, you'll see this just continues off to the south till about Sunday evening, afternoon evening, where eventually kind of dies out as the rest of the trough does as well. So this isn't going to be really triggering a very impressive low level response. Well, you will notice again just this essentially this jet streak right here overnight hours definitely aid in thunderstorms if they were to form. Just so that shear is always useful. Let's look down to the surface now. Here's our moisture. Again, currently in place. Again, this is 9Z. That is Eastern time now, so I messed up with my times. That would be for 4 a.m. This is our moisture. Again, not very impressive. Basically pretty dry. We had some stronger storms and kind of a cold front out here, eliminating a lot of the moisture off to the east. But some of this moisture will be returning. This is likely due to evapotranspiration, where you have all those plants leading to more moisture. See very quick moisture recovery impressively here on the wrap run. Lots of that moisture kind of retains itself here, leading to a little bit of, again, kind of a moisture boundary right here. And it's a good area for storms. Let's move into this sector now. Let's go with our temperatures and our winds. Notice at the initialization here, you have kind of this kind of high pressure scenario here. Some of the south air advection out of the south here will aid in more moisture in warmer temperatures and possibly some storms along that little bit of a boundary that we saw right here. Yeah, moisture content isn't bad. Let's take a sounding here. We're about 6Z, just kind of see what's in that open warm sector, and then let's look at our cams. Here's our HRRR, and instability is not very impressive. HRRR instability here, not very intense at all. It wouldn't be, yeah, this isn't a great sounding. You have some of that upper level instability, and looking at our scenario for today, mostly hail and wind being the factors. Tornadoes are a minor threat. Stability is just not very impressive along the region, just because we don't really have a large scale synoptic feature forming this other than a small shortwave trough. Looking at our simulated reflectivity here, you might get some storms, possibly severe, maybe some strong downdrafts, strong updrafts producing hail. It's not very intense at all. And then tomorrow, kind of a similar situation. Here is Sunday, June 1st. Again, similar scenario. Maybe a few isolated cell or two that's able to form some large hail, strong downdrafts, maybe a brief tornado, but nothing impressive. Instability tomorrow should be a little more impressive, I can tell. But the capping feature might remain in place as well. So not very impressive on the severe weather scale. We're a little bit of a low, which is definitely a good thing to be seeing. We had a pretty active mid-May, so a good thing to be seeing a lot more quiet time. Tomorrow's severe threat, very similar to today, just has a little small 15% hail, a little 2% tornado, not even but level 2 out of 5, not very impressive. Again, especially for Texas. Lastly, what I want to look at is our tropics. Let's move back to our satellite here. Stay on the infrared. Let me move more towards this sector here. This will show us what we had down here off Mexico, and we looked at tropical storm Alvin going on. Max sustained winds, that's like 35 knots. That's just about in tropical storm range. Central pressure at 1005, not very impressive. Kind of depression-y, and I believe right now might have officially is post-tropical now. Officially, as I made this, yep, there it is. Officially post-tropical now. So again, post-tropical Alvin just kind of dying out here off the coast. You can see very well on the satellite. Let me actually just zoom in on this. Excuse me a second to fix my satellite options here. We'll stay here. Go back to 200 frames. This was 200 frames ago. This was yesterday, right around 5 p.m. Central. That's about 4 p.m. Mountain Time, which is the local time for the storm. See, very intense storm development, but definitely sheared out just based on how how quickly some of these upper level cirrus were moving off very quickly off to there. Very quickly again, you can just see this thing die out. You don't really have any storm development anymore. Kind of a tropical cyclone. This did kind of meander off some warmer temperatures off of the coast. That has been consistent, and that will continue southeast here down to like Mexico. But again, you'll see down here more storm development going on. We have that post-tropical cyclone, but overall, again, thunderstorms going on over much of the region here. What we're going to be paying attention to is some of these storms down here. You can see on this sector. This one will be good. Yeah. So we're looking at these storms here, kind of form widget out of the way here. So stronger storms going on, and these could eventually congeal as long as you can see kind of a area of more intense storm development. You can see in those black values are the really tall storm tops, and right here is a good frame. Stop me. Let's go all the way to the end. Lots of strong storms, and if you decide to kind of congeal all in one area, you could get an area of low pressure, and then you could begin that tropical cyclone development. Currently, the NHC has a 40% chance of cyclone development in 7 days, but yesterday that was at 10%. So this has increased. They do have more confidence in that development. I'm looking at our Eastern Pacific sector here. Let's look at wind shear, because these often need wind shear to form. You can see definitely that area right off to the very east of our map here, that lowered wind shear down there, and that will aid in keeping these, helping with the tropical cyclone development. Let me see if I can get a better sector, actually. let's check North Atlantic. We can also look at what else I wanted to which is that the GFS run has been showing a lot of cyclone development kind of right here, and then moving off kind of towards Florida or just towards the. And while that is definitely still a possibility, that is at 200 frames out. I can show you a good example of this. Look at our GFS run right here. We go to temperature. Let's go to the Atlantic. We can do North America. And just watch down here in the kind of southern Caribbean Sea. About with time, you'll if this message will move very quickly. It's just notice we're at frame almost 200 here. Get this little cyclone development here, moves off towards Florida, moves off the coast of the U.S., and then kind of dies out. This is just so far in advance, and I've seen some videos online about mentioning this setup. While there is this definitely possibility of a cyclone development off the coast of Mexico or Guatemala, and the NHC has put out this 40%. I wouldn't put too much stock into the GFS because GFS loves to create these tropical cyclones, and there's lots of people out there who will just this. So far out, not a worry right now, but we're keeping an eye on this, and I'll be keeping an eye on this just because of the fact that this has been consistent throughout runs. That's always interesting to see. It's not like some storm really far. It's reasonably, if we do keep seeing that signal, it could be something interesting to pay attention to, but it's so far out that we don't know the conditions and how they'll evolve. Looking at our current shear, lots of shear over the Caribbean Sea right now. Definitely not where you would expect to see tropical storm development. We do have some more of lower shear out here, kind of near the equator, and that could be more favorable. Keep an eye on that. And again, right over our region, seeing for possible storm development, very low shear, very favorable environment for tropical cyclone formation. Let's look at lower convergence, and lots of convergence down here. Divergence over the curve. Upper divergence, similar here. That's development, so we'll keep an eye on that region. And if things do point towards development, then this video again. Thank you for watching. Questions, comments, or suggestions. See you all next time.